So many women completely lose their identity when they become a mother. Their pre-baby life becomes this fantasy that they reminisce on. I believe motherhood is one of the most important roles we have as women, but I also believe you don't need to lose yourself in the journey of motherhood. Let's dive in. I'm terrified of losing myself to motherhood and losing my identity. Do you have any advice for me? I got this question a few weeks ago in my Q&A box, and I didn't answer it right away. I kind of just let it marinate in my head for a few days and a few weeks, and then I came on stories a little bit after and kind of just talked about this topic. And so many of you wanted a full episode on this topic, so here we are. We're going to chat about it today. And I think, I say motherhood, but I think in 2024, we are all in such unique positions when it comes to parenting, and more dads are home than ever. So I do truly believe this applies to both moms and dads alike. I think that you probably have a unique perspective with this too. So I'm glad you can kind of share from the dad side.
Well, it also doesn't necessarily even need to be labeled dad guilt. Like maybe it's guilt in certain scenarios, but it's also dad prioritization. If you want to put it on a different frame, what other things do I need to do? I have 1,000 things on my list. At what point do I slot myself in for my workout, for some meal prep, for some meditation, for, whatever I need to do to fill my cup? So definitely prevalent in this day and age.
Yeah. And I think this is something most parents, if not all new parents, struggle with. And maybe by the time you get to baby 2 or 3, you kind of have a better grasp for this, or maybe you don't. Whatever your situation is, I think most of you will be able to relate in some way to this topic and to this episode. But, we're in a season of life currently where we have little kids, right? We have babies. We are growing another baby, but we're kind of in this transitional period too, where Kai is now starting kindergarten. He's starting to become kid versus toddler baby, which is interesting. And I'm sure, everything as we know it is going to shift a little bit again. And that's really the first kind of point I wanted to touch on here, is that when you become a parent, there are so many different phases and seasons, and especially in those early days, it feels like, or you kind of get to the point where you get used to things, you maybe get in the swing of things, you get a routine under your belt, and then a nap schedule has to change or something else changes, and it's like you feel like you're starting from square one again. And I think, it being the start of school here this week, a lot of you guys had kids go back to school recently. Like, there are lots of these swirling thoughts and things changing and transitions and new routines and schedules and sports starting, and it can feel very overwhelming. And it kind of is similar to that first phase of parenting, of motherhood, where you're just kind of thrown into it and you have to figure out how to fit all of the pieces of the puzzle in from scratch. So I'm kind of glad we're talking about this at this point in the year, because I think this is a very overwhelming season for a lot of people, and we're going to have some exciting things to hopefully help you guys navigate that. We have another challenge coming up next week that we are going to talk about at the end of this episode. And just, as always, or I think as we mentioned in the last program, our app, we try our best to really make it something that anybody can do. Anybody can take one of the programs in there and fit within their day. But our new program, want to just touch on it again, just give them the basics, the 3 bullet points of who it's for, what it's about, how we can adapt it to this season of life.
Well, Evolve Hybrid has been a highly requested program. All the programs are adaptable. So, being able to select based on time available, days per week you want to train, equipment available, that's already been built into the app. So the program coming out September 1st, that's something I've been playing with for the last 5 or 6 months as far as bringing volume way down, because just like you guys, we are in a very busy phase of life. We've got 2 kids, we have 2 businesses, we got a whole lot going on. but we don't want to just, nix the workouts. So being able to be as efficient as possible. So this workout split is 4 days a week. It's an upper lower split, very minimal volume, but the point there is to drive in as much intensity as possible. So every set is going just short of failure. You can take that last set to failure. It's one exercise per body part, 3 sets per body part. So you're talking about a total of 6 working sets per body part per week, which is below even minimum effective volume general recommendations, which I no longer fully align with. The results that I've seen, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, it's been tremendous over the past 5 months. I'm stronger than I have been in a very, very long time. I'm sitting around 190 pounds, which I usually bounce between 185, 190, 195. I'm right around 190, low 190s. As lean as I've been at 190, as vascular as I've been at 190, and as strong as I've been at 190. Doing the least amount in the gym, the fewest amount of training days I have in a very long time. But that said, I'm going much harder than I ever have. So, thinking about training back in high school when I was loaded up on all kinds of pre-workouts and just getting super hyped and literally taking every set to failure and beyond when you got a spotter. My intensity has not been this high since that point in my life. So the result's been incredible. People have also requested that we combine a running program with this new program, which has been great. So we plugged in the Extend running program. But if you don't want to do that, why don't you just do a 3-second preface on what the Extend program is?
Yeah, the Extend program is kind of our intermediate run program. So you're not somebody who's never run before. You can kind of run around 30 minutes straight-ish, 2 to 3 miles at least without stopping.
Days per week?
Sorry, what?
How many runs per week?
3 runs per week, I
3
believe.
runs per week.
So this will kind of lead you up to increasing your mileage a little bit more. I think the end result is a 10K distance, and then there's some speed work in there. So it's a good mix of just, getting a little bit more efficient with running speed-wise and distance-wise.
So if you want the structure, that is programmed into the days. If you're not at that point yet, or you just prefer to kind of do your own thing, there's a button where you can swap that out for just 20 minutes of general zone 2 cardio. And there's a section in there for notes where you can track what you did, how long you went, if it was just 20 minutes, if it was 21 minutes, 23, mark all that, distance traveled, whether it was the bike or a run or a hike, whatever you did. So you can take notes for all those things and literally just swap that out with the click of a button. So that'll be in there. We are also, I'm not going to get specific because it's undecided how this is going to play out. I'm actually, if you're in the Facebook group, I put a question up today, August 26th, depending on when you're listening to it. So asking how you guys wanted this structured. It's going to be a featured program. There are some cool tools we want to put into this. So it's not just, resistance training. It's not just running, but it's also going to give you some lifestyle protocols. So some things you can follow. So if a brand new user comes in or someone's been floating around between programs and they want some structure, they want to, I don't want to say overhaul your lifestyle, but you want some guidance on how to do all these other things. We're going to put that in this one. So who is it for? It's for busy humans. It's for busy parents, built specifically by busy parents for busy parents, whether you have a kid or you want to have kids in the future. As long as you fall under that busy human umbrella, this is for you. What is it? It's a fucking very efficient training program, lifestyle protocol with the adaptability to follow what you want. If you don't want to run it all right now, you don't want to track it, just follow the program. That's fine. But ideally we're focused on overall health. So we are getting some resistance and some cardio in there in the lifestyle protocols. So if you want to get some guidance on reshaping all of those things and you don't have the means to dive into coaching, or you're not ready to dive into coaching yet, this is going to be the closest thing that you find to coaching. Up until August 31st, our code for a free month is SIZZLE, SIZZLE at checkout.
So go try it out. We have so many programs in the app, though, and I really wanted to touch on that because I think we're going to kind of talk about the fitness side of things here as far as losing yourself and losing your identity when you become a parent. But you can really apply this topic to maybe you feel like you're losing who you are as, with what you do with work or just any sort of hobbies that you've had over the years. When you become a parent, it feels like you lose yourself in a lot of those ways because you feel like you don't have the time for those things. So our approach to health and fitness has changed so much since we've become parents and has sort of evolved as we've gone through the different phases of parenting too. So I want to kind of bring it back to that topic and the phases of parenting, and just, how we sort of have approached it through the different seasons of parenting, because it truly has changed so much with each year, sometimes within the year. But I was listening to another podcast recently on a run, and for those of you who follow the endurance world, Sally McRae, she's a pro trail runner. She's incredible, but she's also a mom of two, and that's something that really drew me to her as just somebody that I look up to. And I'm very not picky, but like, I don't look up to a lot of people when it comes to parents, and that might sound like
it sounded fucked up.
It sounds bad, but like I very much believe in how we parent, and I'm very confident in how we parent, but I like to look up to a select number of people who are kind of in different seasons of life than us. So her kids are high school and college, and she really became a pro athlete after she had kids. So that's what drew me to her initially, because I feel like that's badass. That is awesome.
I'm going to become a pro fighter when Kai gets into middle school.
But I was listening to her kind of talk about this briefly, and how there's just, you go through these different seasons of life when it comes to parenting. And if you have little kids, you're more hands-on, obviously. They need you more. So when Kai was born, Kai is our first child, for those listening and you don't know who our kids are.
After Cal.
After our dog Cal, our bulldog. He's our first baby. But our first human baby was Kai. And well, yes, I think it was hardest to go from 0 to 1 kid. In a lot of ways, it was also a lot easier, because it's two of you against this tiny human. So we really lived and breathed the shift parenting situation. I think we have a whole podcast about it. But basically, we're both working from home. We both really wanted to prioritize our fitness and our health, and had personal things that we wanted to focus on. So we literally would parent in shifts. Josh, for instance, would take the morning with Kai, then he would nap. Then I would take the afternoon, and he would do another nap. So like, we would kind of just flip-flop, and it worked really well for us for a really long time. It allowed us to work efficiently. It allowed us to work together during nap times. It allowed us to have time to work out without having a little kid in the gym with us. So that was like one season of life. And then that kind of shifted a little bit. When would you say that shifted? He was probably...
When we lost the nap.
When we lost his nap. Yep. That was more recent. It wasn't too long ago. But
the first nap even. Yeah.
I mean, when we lost his official nap time, that felt hard, because we relied on that to podcast, to do things that we both needed to do at the same time. And, we don't send our kids to daycare. We don't have a nanny. We have help from our moms for maybe 6 hours total for the week, a couple hours each 3 days out of the week. So we don't have regular help. It's not always super consistent. And most of the time it's just us balancing this. So when Cora came into the picture, things changed a lot again. Obviously, when you have two kids, it's like one of you is with one kid, the other person's with the baby. And for a long time, it was me and Cora, and you and Kai. You would kind of separate and do your thing with him. I would obviously need to be with Cora because I was breastfeeding her. And that was a harder season of life, because it felt like we were separated a lot more. Like we would be separate with the kids, and then we would be separate working or doing our own things when they were napping, if they were napping at the same time. So you just learn to juggle things a little bit more. But we eventually found our groove, and we found, a routine that worked a little bit better. And we do spend, I would say, afternoons pretty much are all together as a family. We start and end the day all together as a family now, which we didn't always do that for a long time. It was the shift work stuff, even at night. I remember when Kai was a baby, we would often be like, one of us would be working at dinner time, and the other person would be with Kai. So life does look a lot different. And my point in sharing all of this is there are just so many different phases to parenting and to life. And if you let time be your excuse all the time, then you're never going to find the opportunity to do the things that you want to do. And if you truly just let the parenting bubble take over every other bubble in your life, you're going to feel, I think, really depressed. Like, if you don't make room for the things that you know fill your cup and make you feel better, even if it's not necessarily a training program right now, but simply like movement and just being alone for like 5 or 10 minutes, like starting your day by yourself. We both know how much of an impact that makes for us, just having that brief few minutes of alone time before the kids wake up. But
well, to that extent, to that point specifically, you can also kind of get trapped there too, where it's, oh, I don't want to start the training program. You know, I need 10 minutes. I need 15 minutes. I need to watch 6 episodes of Netflix. It continues to compound because you don't feel good. So you do these things that you think are going to make you feel better, when in actuality, that what's going to make you feel the best is structure and accountability and structure. So I think the key to a balanced lifestyle and everything that we talk about, and as far as building in, you know, the ideal script as a parent and creating this balance, everything is a different puzzle piece. You have different puzzle pieces, and we have our 5 pillars. So training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits. Those are all specific puzzle pieces. So once you come up with your protocols, your individual pieces, they might shift, they might change shape, they might look a little bit different in regards to when you do them. But assuming all those protocols are efficient, because you have to make them fit into a busy lifestyle, you're just going to kind of organize the day as your flow shifts, as the nap time schedule shifts, as the school schedule shifts, as you go from summer into school, school into summer. So you have those pieces. So you took a lot of that heavy lifting off the table. You no longer have to think about those. I meditate for 10 minutes. I work out for 30 minutes. I go for a walk with the family at breakfast. So that's going to fit, you know, regardless. Hey, this got moved here. We've got an appointment here today, or this is the new schedule, the new nap time schedule. So I've got to bring this guy around here. You know what those things look like. You know what the qualifications are. So based upon what your schedule shifts to, there's going to be a learning curve. It's going to take you a week or two to kind of really hit your stride again. But when you have those things outlined and solidified, it makes it so much easier. So rather than, I think I need a break, I think I need to go lay down, I think I need this time by myself, occasionally you do, but that's for like a day to decompress. That's not the long-term solution. The long-term solution is ripping this Band-Aid off and getting started with something that's actually productive and is physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually going to change your life and move you to where you wanted to be to begin with.
I think there are 2 aspects of this that I also want to touch on that hold a lot of people back. The first thing is setting realistic expectations for the current season of life that you're in. A lot of people get hung up on what they used to do pre-kids, or what worked for them before they had babies, or just how long they were able to spend in the gym before kids. All of us had more time before kids. Every single one of us. I think we touched on this in a recent episode. Like, you think back to pre-kids, how much more time you had. And it's just, you know, it's funny to think back on, but just because you had success doing things a certain way with that increased time pre-kids doesn't mean that you cannot have success in a different way now. And I think a lot of people truly believe a 30-minute workout is not enough. They truly,
I didn't think it was enough until I did it.
They truly believe that, you know, if they're coming from doing a lot of the boot camp style classes and, you know, whatever they like to do beforehand, doing a basic strength workout with dumbbells is not enough. They truly believe that if they don't meal prep every single meal that they're eating for the week, that's not worth it. We as humans, well, that's number 1. Number 2 is they need to approach it with an all or nothing mindset. So your expectations are off, and then you also feel like you need to be perfect, and it has to be all or nothing with that approach. If you're in that boat, if you're in either of those spaces, you're probably struggling right now, because we also know you cannot approach parenting, fitness, health with that all or nothing mindset unless you want to feel like you're constantly stopping and starting and stopping and starting. We really need to allow ourselves to live in that gray zone, in that middle area, and not be super perfect with our macros all the time. Not feel like we have to be working out at 7 a.m. every day or it's not worth it at all. You have to embrace being flexible when it comes to these things if you want to succeed in the long term. And I would argue our clients who have had the most success over the years are not the ones who are most perfect with their protocols. They're the ones who continue to show up despite life happening. So I think those two things really are important. And this goes for anything. Like, let's say you love to I don't know, crochet or read a lot of fiction books before you had kids, and you feel like you want to do that again, but you just don't have the time. Can you read 5 pages a night and work on stuff that way? Can you crochet for 10 minutes instead of watching TV before bed? Like, there's always going to be checks and balances and compromise to be made when it comes to doing the things that you want to do. But I guarantee if we approach it for the current season, you can have success with it.
Listen, it goes back to the old school personal trainer mentality. We used to be personal trainers in person. The concept was to beat a client down so they felt like they got a great workout on. They left exhausted. So you had to be in there, you know, most of the time that was 60 minutes. But for those of you doing this to yourselves, it's 90 minutes, 6 days a week. You have to leave feeling gassed. And that's how you know you accomplished a great workout. You feel like crap leaving. If I told you that you could take that 90-minute workout, condense it into 30 minutes, so literally 1/3 of the time that you're in the gym, and get a better return on your investment, you'd look at me and think I was crazy. That's what I'm doing right now. And that's what everyone else can be doing. It's figuring out that puzzle piece and getting out of that mindset of I need to leave feeling like crap. You're going to leave these workouts feeling better. Cumulative fatigue is going to be reduced significantly. We're dropping training days. We're dropping overall volume. And the point is to add value to every other area of your life while achieving your fitness goals, because you can do both. And it takes a lot less time than you think.
Yeah. I was going to touch on one more thing. Oh, I think the other thing that's brought up with this topic is, you know, you feel like you have to give your all to your kids. You have to give your all to motherhood, or else you're not going to raise good kids. And I truly believe if you're a parent and you're listening to this episode and you're wanting to better yourself, but struggling, like, yeah, what am I trying to say? You are a good parent is what I'm trying to say. Like, you are here, you are listening, you are trying to be better for yourself. You're trying to be better for your kids. They are going to be better if you lead the way for them and show them how you can better yourself. If you give your all to them and let your health and fitness just fall to the back, let your relationships fall to the back, let everything else that's happening in everyday life just fall to the wayside because you're giving all of your time, attention, and everything to your kids, they're also going to notice that eventually. Maybe not now, maybe they're too young to pick up on it now, but if they see you pushing all of those things to the side, that is something that they're going to pick up on. If they see you choosing to get your workout in, choosing to make a good decision with food, choosing to go for a walk instead of sit on the couch and watch TV, they will also pick up on that. And it's your job to lead them to a quality life. But if you are not living the life that you want them to live, they're going to have a really hard time living the life that you want them to live. And I totally get it. Like, I totally get wanting to be there for your kids all the time and give them attention and play with them all the time and keep them entertained. But there is so much to be said for creating strong and independent kids also who can entertain themselves while you get a little 30-minute workout in. Maybe it's right in the living room next to them, but they're going to be okay if you don't give them 100% of your attention for the entire day.
It is your responsibility to be the change. You start with being the change for yourself. That allows you to be the change for your family, and that ripple effect is going to be the change for the rest of the world. So it starts with you. And to your point, they see everything. Our kids see everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. They're going to reciprocate and replicate those things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So to give you a real world example, I do my cold plunge every morning before breakfast, and there is nothing fun about a cold plunge. The water is 39, 40 degrees. But I'm out there every morning. Kai knows why I do it, and he took a little break, but he's been asking recently again, can I go out there with you? And I say, yeah. And then again, we talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're working through the stress in the moment. But he is asking if he can go do something that's very much not fun, very, very unenjoyable, because he sees how important it is to me and to my routine. He's out there following us around the gym. He's following us around the yard, working on the chickens and this and that and the other. So He'll also follow my reactions. So it's on the other side of things. My overreactions, if I get stressed, if I get worked up and I have a breaking point, he sees those things as well. So then we have a conversation about it. And if I have that, I apologize and I say, hey, this is what happened. It's not okay. We're having those conversations on all sides of things. But the things that are happening regularly are the things that our kids are replicating in a daily basis. So being able to get that 30 minutes in, whatever it is, taking that space to do those things you need to do. You might feel like it's, negligent towards your kids, putting them second. It's not. It's going to pay off. Those things are going to pay off so big down the road. And then as far as the general mindset kind of mechanism and mindset hack or mindset just thought pattern, when it comes to putting yourself first in certain situations, again, condensing things down to make them efficient makes it easier. But at the same time, when we have all these things we need to do, I got to clean the garage. I got to power wash the house. I got to cut the grass. I got to cook dinner, whatever it is. When we can go back to those puzzle pieces and say, okay, I just need this period of time. Can I carve out 30 minutes for this here? Can I carve out 5 minutes for that there? And it's going to go here no matter what. It's scheduled like a doctor's appointment. It's non-negotiable. This is when I'm doing it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to plan around that family. You're going to plan around this. I'm not here for this 30-minute period or whatever it is for that one. So understanding that when you get those things in place, all the lifestyle protocols and those minimal amounts of time that's going to take when you get those down, you have so much more to give to everyone else rather than this half-assed, fuse has been burnt, short straw, no patience with anybody kind of life. Just going through, not getting anything done to the best of your ability or truly being there. You're there physically, you're doing those things, you're putting everyone else first, but you're burnt out. So it's not really worth much of a damn. Versus taking care of yourself, being in a better place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, so you have so much more to give to everyone else. And they're going to appreciate that. It's going to take a little more time. Let's say the whole thing takes you an hour a day to get your things done and your things in place. The ROI for your family and those around you is going to be 10 times higher.
The take-home message for today. Your passions don't have to die when you become a parent. Your identity does not have to die when you become a parent. You are constantly evolving. You are constantly getting better, hopefully, getting worse, hopefully not, or just kind of staying stagnant. So if you feel like you're not moving forward in any area of personal growth, this is your reminder today that doing so impacts every single person in your life. And you have the power to be the change for every single person in your life, including your kids. And it all starts with just one decision to be the change and make a change today. It doesn't have to be a whole lifestyle overhaul, but just choose one thing to focus on that gives you back a little bit of you and watch how that tremendously impacts every other area of your life.
Guys, if you got value from this episode and you've heard a couple more, we have a 3-episode rule. We would greatly appreciate it if you just stop at the end of this, click the 5-star real quick. If you want to leave a little paragraph, cool, a couple sentences. Tag us on social media as you share the episode. It means the world to us. If this helped you, the whole point is to help someone else. So, if you got value, someone else is going to get value. If someone else is struggling with a certain thing that kind of hit home for you, share it. Or if you don't want to share it publicly, just leave a quick review. It does help expand the reach. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to catch you in the next one. Where can they find you?
Wait, last thing to say. I forgot. I said I was going to talk about it at the end. We're going to start a new little challenge next week is it next week? Whenever Labor Day is, the day after, because I know everybody's like bopping around.
6 days after this episode comes out.
So just tune into socials over the next week. We're going to announce some things that you could win, just what the challenge is, how you can just really dial things in this crazy season of life before the holidays come. We're kind of just, a lot of people feel all over the place right now. So I really want to use this challenge as a way for us all to kind of get recentered, get structured as school starts, as sports start, and just feel good. So go check out the social channels this week. I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
I'm at Josh Skutnik.
And everything else that you need is linked in the show notes.